SmokeSumPodcast, episode 40. It's the visionary mind. I see it, I think it, I make it happen. We out here in Atlanta, man. One of the makers of black entertainment, black everything. You feel me? We're here at Cigar Village. I'm here with a special guest. I'm gonna allow you to introduce yourself.
How you doing? I'm Keny O from Atlanta. On the Cigar Village, been here about 13 years.
Okay, cool. So I want to just go ahead and go into your background. Like, how did you grow up? How were you raised? How did you get into the entrepreneurial life and specifically cigars?
Well, being an entrepreneur was was definitely a shock, for me, because I didn't grow up in that world. My parents went to work, they had a job, grandparents had jobs, and then before then, I really don't know. But for me, I was a government employee for a long time, but I knew I kind of always had that itch where I wanted to do something for me. I wanted to work for me.
Right.
And then around about 2012, I was asking myself, what could I do that the economy didn't have a direct impact on,
right,
or what was recession-proof? And tobacco and alcohol and hair,
right,
all came to mind. So I was like, I don't want to cut any hair. And then I looked at my vices. I drink, and my grandfather smoked cigars, and so I think I might have had my first one about 17. So I had an affinity to them.
Right.
But it still kind of drove me to decide what type of business I wanted to be in, and then it kind of led me down the tobacco road. I was like, people are going to smoke and drink. Well, they're going to do those vices, no matter if they're happy, they're sad,
no matter
they have
what.
a baby, they have a funeral. People are going to smoke and drink daily.
Right.
And so then I opened the doors, and I've been here ever since.
Okay. I want to take a step back just a little bit.
Sure.
So you said you had your first cigar when you were a teenager. Like, what was that experience like for you, and what particular cigar did you have?
Well, the first experience, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
And so my granddad kind of chewed his to a certain extent, but he also smoked them. I had a cigar, it was called the Dark Knight. It was Hoya in Monterey. And they still make them. Didn't know what I was doing, just kind of inhaling too much and was sick afterwards. But it took a little repetition, a little practice. So I did not deviate from the Hoya Monterey for probably 2 years. So my track was the same cigar, and I wasn't a brand whore because I didn't know enough about cigars.
Right.
But Granddad was smoking machine-made cigars. Some.
Yeah.
And so I stayed on that Dark Knight for a while, and then I kind of went down the road of I started saving my labels. I said I'm going to write on the inside of my label, what I like, what I didn't like. I had a plus-minus system or arrow up and down, strong, mild, okay. Then I accumulated all these labels and like containers. I probably could have put it on the glass and furniture.
Right.
So just like if you're into craft beer, into whiskey, whatever it is, you have to try. You have to get out of your comfort zone. It's so many makes. And each make makes so many faces.
Right.
So I was just puffing and trying. It's almost like same thing with people not with smoking grass or weed.
Yeah.
It's trial and error. What you like, what you didn't like. And so as I would travel around, I could look at a cigar or think about what I had, and I would start looking at cigars that looked like it, no matter what the price was or whatever. And then I can assimilate to say, okay, I like the Maduro after I eat. I like something milder, in the morning with my coffee, midday. But I smoke based on my time also. So, if I got 20 minutes or I got 15 minutes to be somewhere, I'm content with a cigar that's going to burn that long versus relighting, or if I'm at a cookout, I want something 57 gauge or 60 ring gauge, so I can have it the entire time that I'm in the cookout. I don't have to relight, because you can be in places and smoke 2-3 cigars, and I don't mean like in a setting like this, if you're talking, shooting shit, but your cigar's supposed to be enjoyed, then you move on to the next thing.
Okay. So wanted to scale back another thing you said that should caught my attention. What about being an entrepreneur that young and knowing kind of where you wanted to go, like what type of steps or what kind of obstacles did you have getting to this point?
Let me make one correction. I wasn't that young, so I was young when I smoked my first cigar.
Right.
I was about 17. I didn't get into this, like I said, about 13 years ago. And I had an MBA from NYU, but I had an idea, and not just the educational background, but I had an idea, like I said, the train was driving for me, was saying, what brings in cash? What don't I have to worry about if this person loses their job or this person moves? What's going to be consistent? You know, and then what doesn't sell on Monday sells on Tuesday.
Right.
What doesn't sell on Tuesday sells next week. So you just wanted to have something that was solid. Right. That you didn't have to really, outside of depending on your customers, outside of your customer base, you don't have to depend on anything else, you know, that keep you going.
So it seemed like what you were just saying about as far as like your education and going into college, you already had like
so you know,
a knack for business.
Well, I tell you, man, you know, it's the same thing I tell my daughter. You know, you go to college, you get a degree.
Yeah.
Don't nobody know what they want to do.
Right.
You know, when I was in school, I smoked every day.
Right.
I mean, I was telling a friend of mine last night, at least a half every day. So, did I know that I was going to do this right here?
Yeah.
You know, when I was a little boy, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe the dentist, maybe I'd be this, maybe I'd be a police, you know, whatever it may be. Never in my wildest imagination did I say as a young person, I'm gonna be proud of a successful cigar shop.
Right.
You know, but the education just gives you a foundation. You know, being an entrepreneur, man, it's a grind.
Oh yeah,
you know, it's a grind no matter what you're into. You have to, you know, you have to rock that baby.
Yeah.
You know, and if nobody else believes in you or you ain't got no help, you know, it's your baby. You still gotta feed it.
Right.
You know, it takes time. You know, then once it takes off, you know, it can be on glide path for a little while, and then but anything can sit. You know, as an entrepreneur, if you don't have the liquid, you can't get established like you want to be.
Right.
And when you have major setbacks, you can't rebound as fast as you want to be.
Yeah.
You know, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah. So like, so you say you got into it in 2012 or 2013, but I'm pretty sure you already had like the entrepreneur mindset. So I'm pretty sure this wasn't like your first business.
Right. So I had I've done a few other things, but I had a car wash, and it's a lot of work. But I guess being an entrepreneur, you have to kind of look at it as give and take, yin and yang. What can I give this? What service or what can I do for this group of people or this person? And what's my return? It's either self-accomplishment, it's cash, it's quality time spent, you know, so it's always give and take. You provide the service, and then you want to be rewarded for your service.
Right.
You know, so the car wash I did for about 3-4 years, and then I got into business. But I had it the same, actually, prior to this, but kind of at the same time.
Right.
And but as an entrepreneur, you're always looking. You know, you're always looking to take one thing and either keep it or as a stepping stone to launch you off into another atmosphere, another area.
Yeah.
You know.
But what's that mindset like? I always tell people like entrepreneurs and business owners are some of the more intelligent people. Like they know when to.
Well, some of it, I'll tell you. I'll tell you this. It's not. It's not always intellect. It is. It's the same thing when you got people who are book smart versus street smart.
Right.
You know, with being an entrepreneur, you have to have some kind of sense of common sense. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to have some kind of intestinal fortitude that's going to motivate you to be successful. But you got some people who grind. They don't have a business sense, and they never get to the next level.
Right.
So, short-term plan has to be the long-term plan. And if those two don't jive, you're running a rat race. You're going to be spinning your wheel. You're never going to get ahead. So, you know, if you say to yourself, you know what, I want to be the biggest podcast guy. Let's say your whole ultimate goal is to be on TV.
Right.
You start here, and it's podcast, and then it's some day shows somewhere, and then you're on every day. Right. You know, but the short-term goal, I got to get my English right.
Right.
You know, I got degrees only come into play because society said we need degrees. If I was running a media company and you had experience, I could just pull you up because we the same.
So we locked in like that.
Like that. But for us, that doesn't happen as easy as it happens for others. You know, so
why do you think it's like that?
Well, it's because we don't own. We're behind, and I don't want to really bring up slavery. We're behind so much due to the slavery. And what I mean by that is, you know, we graduate college. Give an example. We graduate college or trade school or high school or whatever it may be. We had to go to work.
Right.
You know, but little Timmy may graduate college. They're supposed to give him a car, give him a house. So now when little Timmy gets a job, he's getting paid his whole check. He can do whatever he wants to say. Our check's got to go to paying a credit card, paying a car note, paying rent. Yeah. So it's not that we're behind that far, but we might be behind 10 years, 12 years. to play catch up. And those things you don't never really catch up because of 12 years. Now, little Timmy, he done stacked for 12 years.
Right.
He done invested for 12 years.
But I'm gonna play devil's advocate though. That's not the problem. Our problem is gatekeeping each other.
Well, that's opinion. Now you got to remember, you asked me. I'm just telling you what I thought.
No. I'm just bringing up a different.
That's opinion. So, and then we tend to be just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying. We don't tend to be as supportive of one another in certain places, and we can be crass and kind of invested. We'd rather hold you down, so we can get ahead.
Right.
Instead of let's all come together. For example, look at what Mexican and Asian folks do with property, man. I mean, it's a reason why it's 10 of them in a house, 15 of them in a house. They're gonna pay their house up like this, somebody stay in the house, they're gonna go to the next house.
Yep.
And in 10 years, everybody can have a house.
Right.
So
that's true.
It's the wheel doesn't need to be recreated. We know the plan. It's just we got to come together as a group because ain't no little Africans. Ain't no little black part of town, but they're not called Little Korea, Little Italy,
Right.
where the dollar circulates 6-7 times and never before it even leaves out. It might maybe more than that.
Right.
They going to their grocery store, they going to their cleaners, they going to their theater. Well, we got to go out for everything.
Yeah. But don't you think like that works well for them because that works for their system? Like, I feel like
because integration didn't really help us sometimes. We could have stayed separate.
Yeah,
true. I'm definitely with you there.
But I also feel like though, like that works for those different cultures. I feel like to a certain extent we have to reinvent the wheel and try to figure out like what works for. It might not be like like a cultural thing, but it may be like for your family, you may do things differently from the other families.
But what's the time limit on that? When do we figure it out? Is there a time limit on that?
I mean, I feel like if we just using you as an example, I feel like, you might have been the first person, or I don't know, as far as like entrepreneurship in your family, anybody below you should be under whatever system to maintain the business and to at least be like, hey, if you don't want to run it,
that's right. Yeah.
You hire somebody, and
you keep business.
You keep the business going.
Well, that's how that's the start of the road to trying to accumulate generation wealth.
Right.
Just like they ain't no more land being made, so when you get some, you just hang on.
You gotta hang on to it. Yeah.
That's right, and you give it to somebody else, and you hope that next generation, since the house is paid for them, they don't sell it or they don't get on dope or whatever it may be and lose the property because now their whole check is their check as long as they pay the taxes, and it just keeps going. Then you can accumulate. That's a very good point.
Yeah. What is? But in your opinion, what is generational wealth to you?
Well,
in your opinion,
and when I say generational wealth, I'm not always talking, filthy rich billionaires. But I'm thinking the ability to be comfortable, the ability to not. We've all been starving young folks, where if you kick it too much on Friday, somebody ain't getting paid next week.
Right.
So it's a level of being comfortable.
Right.
Where if you could do everything that you need to do financially to include savings and investing and your social life, it's a balance.
Yeah.
That's got to be the paradigm for the group, not just for this set of cousins. So everybody is bought into that, and everybody's comfortable.
Right.
Then their kids are gonna see what success looks like, and then their kids should see it. It should just replicate.
Repetition. So, like when you first started this particular business, was cigars a popular thing, or over time did it become trendy and people wanted to?
I've seen maybe last 8 or 9 years, the popularity amongst African Americans has increased. Even here in Georgia, it might have been 6 cigar bars when I initially opened up, but it might be 100 and some change now. So other cultures have always kind of enjoyed it, but I'm a purist though when I say that. I don't have to have a suit to smoke a cigar. I can smoke a cigar in shorts.
Yes.
I can drink a beer, smoke a cigar. I can drink water. The cigars are oral fixation.
Right.
So if you like the cigar, it doesn't matter what you're doing.
Right.
So yes, I've seen an increase 100%. I mean, especially like I said with blacks and even getting into the business also. There are a lot of black shops opening up, and maybe it's experiences, because each cigar should be an experience. So maybe it's just grown because on one side it's grown because it's social.
Right.
You know, people. Some people want to be dressed. Some people want to be seen, and so they may not want the club scene, but they want to be able to be out.
Casual.
Yes. Yes. So that's kind of, I think, facilitated a lot of the growth, and it's a good hobby. You know, it's not illegal. You know, someone can be a little buzz. They relax you. It's a vice that you can have, that you can enjoy at home, out and about, or even traveling, and it connects people. It doesn't just connect us; it connects us with those other cultures that enjoy the same thing that we like. And so it's a conversation piece.
Yeah.
It's almost like a centerpiece on your table. You know, it's one of those things where you can talk the talk if you've had the experiences, so you can walk the walk.
Right. So, like, to go back a little bit, so when you first opened the business,
Sure.
Obviously Atlanta was a lot different compared to now. Like, Atlanta is the mecca of all things black, culturally, now even business and things like that. So how has Atlanta changed, and how has Atlanta changed to further help the narrative that you push?
Being an ATLian, Atlanta, you know, I think Atlanta has always been, if not the Mecca, it's been close to being a hub for African Americans to be able to do things. You know, there's other places, you know, you got Harlem. Mm-hmm. I mean, where you guys from Detroit? Detroit is Chocolate City. Yeah. Because of the migration of black folks coming to work for the Fours and the Goodyears and the Firestones.
And even migrating from here back.
That's right. So that's the typical thing I tell people. That's why and I'm going to answer your question about seeing Atlanta change. That's why you see everybody in New York, everybody in D.C. saying, my cousin's in Alabama, my cousin, my grandparents in Mississippi, or Florida, because of that migration into move. But Atlanta, if you had an idea that you wanted to do and you was able to do it, and you was of color, you had an opportunity in Atlanta. Now that's not to say that Atlanta was not without its problems of racism, this and that, because this microcosm of Atlanta is not Georgia, and Georgia is not Atlanta, if that makes sense to you. You know, this is the Confederacy. You know, Georgia's part of the Confederacy, but this urban area of Atlanta is us. You know, so we can dictate elections.
Obviously,
you know, but at the same time, so Atlanta has grown, man. I mean, the city, the metropolitan area has grown, you know, tremendously. But even here, the urban areas in Atlanta is us. You know, and of course we're getting out to some of the metropolitan areas, but I would tell you that, since I've seen it forever, but even in the last 20 years, the growth spurts of just not black businesses growing, but just black home ownership, black families, you know, and the scene is a great, you know, because you got black schools here, which helps that view. So you got a lot of people graduating here that's black, and not just the college system, the trade schools. And you can come here and get a fresh start, because, you know, movies are being made here now. You know, if you come to Atlanta and you're hungry and you find somebody that looks like you, somebody can give you an opportunity. And it wasn't always that easy. I'll say it's always probably been that way, but I don't think it's always been as easy as it is now, that you can come in and get some kind of assistance. You know.
Well, what do you think makes it easy, or what was the process of making it easier? I
think it's easier now because there are more bodies, there are more educated people, and there are more. So I'm gonna say it's professional and paraprofessional. I don't want to just keep leading on educated folks. So, you know, now if I'm working on a movie set and I'm doing cameras, I'm trying to get you in. I get you in, and you can be the boom man. You know, the roads to success are easily traveled now because of certain people in certain positions. You know, you can't. If black folks gonna come on a pipeline this way, you know, being a janitor, they can't come out on this side being the CEO. So the more black folks get involved in different things, and they're able to turn down, you know, as they say, pull up for your bootstrap, they're able to turn down and pull the next person up. Because there's more people in those positions. You know, 30 years ago, every 4,500 company, whatever's downtown Atlanta, probably had a white CEO. Now you may have 10-15% of them, maybe they're black. So now the hiring practice is different.
Right.
You know, so that's kind of what I'm saying. You know, if you put more blacks in certain areas, you're going to get more help toward their community.
Do you think other cities should adopt the same things as Atlanta, or do you feel like they should do as
well? You know, I lean back. It's always the closest thing to you, and I mean the closest government to you. So, you know, if you don't have, and I don't mean all black governments ain't been corrupt. Cause I mean, y'all had y'all issue with Kwame or whatever his name was up there, and the female.
To go to that point, I feel like what the whole Kwame situation is that white people needed black people to do things in any major city. Absolutely. Once they realized they could do it without you,
absolutely.
Well, that's
the same thing you see what's going on in Africa. Since we talking black, right. You know, now those people down there in South Africa that never understood how you had white South Africans anyway. So I know that of course they were Dutch and European, right? But now the real black Africans are taking the land and running them out of there because you don't need them anymore. And you know they're trying to exhaust everything they can out of Africa anyway. Right. But with black man rules, man, black man can be successful.
In any state.
Anything. So, you know, that's why I said, you know, local government, you know, not just because we've had black mayors for a long time, but, you know, that's what you really got to pay attention to is keeping the mayor or keeping the city council on your side.
Right.
You know, and then and you replicate that in all areas of the metropolitan, you know, because we have our best interests in mind most of the time.
Right.
You know, because some of us that look like us are not us. That's what we're getting at. So most of the time, you know, we have our best interests in mind. Yeah. And like I said, there are other chocolate cities out there. You know, DC, you know, Detroit, St. Louis. You know, we keep going so much. Jackson, Mississippi. You know, it used to be Tulsa, Oklahoma, Houston, Texas. Right. But Houston's getting more brown. Right. You know, so.
Which is understandable because I mean, in any black community, you got black and brown in the same areas pretty much.
I heard some years ago, and I don't remember the movie I saw it on, but the brother just kept saying, black, brown, and yellow come together. I can't remember the other part of it. It's gonna change the world, man.
Yeah.
When black folks and Mexicans get together, and then we bring the Asian folks in, collectively, that's gonna change everything.
Yeah.
And then we can. But first we gotta come together.
Right.
You know, we gotta fix our house first.
For sure. Why did you choose this part of Atlanta?
Well,
to put your business.
So I was looking around, and East Atlanta used to be completely us,
right?
You know, and it turned out now it's a little more diverse. And I wish I was older. I was 30 years ago. I kind of could have bought this property for a little bit of nothing,
right?
You know, but it's a pedestrian community, so I wanted to be able to be somewhere where people can just walk in right off the street or parking with a little bit of parking limited, but I wanted a pedestrian community. People just walk right off the street, so people are always, when the weather's great, foot traffic, you know, and I wanted to be, you know, just a comfortable environment where if you want a cigar, you can smoke and enjoy yourself. I take in the janitor to the CEO. I didn't want to be a place where you only catered to certain kind of people, or only certain kind of people felt they were welcome. Right. I just wanted to have an everyday man's, woman cigar shop. I don't care if you're gay, straight, tall, short, black, white, Mexican. You know, and when I look at my just like my customer demographics, I'm probably about 75% male, 25% women, probably about 70% black, 30% everything else. Right. You know, and I'm fine with that. I would have been fine with it if it had been 90% of us, 10 thing. You know, because at the end of the day, you are chasing the green, but you want to be welcoming to everyone.
Right. So how did you choose? How did you know, or how did you choose what atmosphere or aesthetic you wanted?
Well, I just kind of looked at, you know, kind of scaled the neighborhood, kind of looked around. Like I said, it was already a pedestrian community, so that was a good thing. And this is more mom and pop places in this area. There are no anchor stores here. Right. So you know, there's not a Macy's here, and we got a print shop over here. There's not Office Depot out here. So there are no anchors out here. Everything is entrepreneurial and mom and pop.
Right. What do you think mom and pops add to the local economy compared to when before you started and versus now?
Well, it's, you know, that's a tough one, because the more we shop small, the better these things do. Right. But it's still not, as I was saying earlier, about circulating our money, because I'm here, it's a few other black businesses here, but there's not, in every city, there's not a black business association, per se, where, you don't get gas at the black gas station, who might be my neighbor, and then I don't go take my money to the cleaners, which you might be able to. So we have black businesses, but collectively, we're still separate.
But I also feel like there should be a unique way to identify.
Oh, no, absolutely. I think you create black business association. I don't mean to lean on the past. Maybe you get something that you get an image that is attributed to the black folks. Your desk or a black circle, and you put it in the window. Say, look, just like the Green Book. You heard about the Green Book.
Yeah, we got a green light on in Detroit, like where it's certain businesses.
So whatever it is that denotes and annotates, this is a black business or this is a minority business, that's what it should be. And then the creation of, informally, let me say this, informally they probably are black business associations. But you need to formalize it. And you can still be part of the regular business association, but this is what we're going to have here. And you participate in this, but the focus over here should be to participate in how we collectively get together, generate more income and wealth, provide the same service.
Right, and you provide the same service and not step on nobody's toes. You in East Atlanta, you might be in a different part of the city, or you might be and correlate together.
And we have to be a little less, critical and forgiving, of
territorial too.
Because think about how many times you go out to eat and they messed up your order.
Right.
You can go to a black business and let's say the person had a bad day, you don't get the customer service you want, or things didn't work out. Now you blast them on social media. You say I ain't never going back there again. But most of the time, in the other place you go to, they done screwed up 1,000 times. I mean, I don't even go to McDonald's at all. But I know they done messed up my order in the last 40-something years.
Right.
But I still go.
Yeah, that's real.
So, we got a few little things we got to fix.
Yeah, sure. What are some unique obstacles or things you had to overcome in this particular industry with cigars?
Well, people are. Okay, well, let me say me. I'm location driven.
Right.
So I don't wake up and say, you know what, I'm gonna ride 20 miles to go smoke a cigar. If I'm traveling, and it says, as long as it don't say KKK cigar shop or Southern Glory, I'm riding and it says this is a cigar shop.
Right.
Now, I'll stop in and I patronize and see. And that's the reason you have cigar shops or whatever it may be all over the city, just at barbershops. You go to them. Now the difference is church people go to where they're being fed. But that's not the old way of the church. The old way of the church was in your neighborhoods.
Right.
And you went to the closest church, So I just go to the closest place that I can enjoy something and make sure I stay on track. What was your question? Repeat your last part of that question.
What were some of the obstacles?
So obstacles out here, or obstacles in this business was some people are fixated on their favorite places.
Right.
And that's fine. And then you have some people, nobody's going to have every cigar in the world, and some people are fixated on brands. Right. So you got label whores. Once people realize that you can get a $5 cigar, they might smoke just as good as a $30 cigar, and vice versa. You get a $30 cigar, that ain't nothing, and a $5 may be. So cigar, like I said, it's trial and error. Some people don't really understand price doesn't really factor in with cigars sometimes.
Right.
If your thing is time, enjoyment, taste, you have to try different ones because so many of them, you are limiting yourself. So education in the cigar game is also a thing that people have to kind of get. But out here, that's the only obstacle. Just location. So if you don't live in East Atlanta, you don't come to East Atlanta. And vice versa.
So when you say the education, can you clarify that? Is there some
protocol, customs, courtesy, and etiquette when it comes to cigars? There's certain things. If you're gonna start smoking cigars, you should know.
Right.
And if you don't know, then you should read, or you should go watch. I mean, even if you don't have to be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but you can go watch, and you can watch the good patterns, bad patterns, and kind of figure out what's right, what's not right.
Right.
So, I used to have a sign up when I took it down. It used to be 20 steps in etiquette in cigars while you're in here. I don't care if you got a $30 cigar, I got a $10 cigar. I shouldn't be flashing in your face, letting you know, this is what I'm smoking, what you smoke. You smoke what you want to smoke.
Right.
You know, simple things like crushing cigars in the ashtray. You know, it's a lot of simple things that people don't know. You know, and there's a lot of foolish things that people like to do. Pair it with certain liquors.
Right, yeah.
So the liquor companies don't make liquor for cigars. Cigar folks don't make cigars for liquor.
Yeah.
So, and I always tell people when they was, you know, when I was younger, there was a cigar and brandy. So I'm gonna date myself a little bit here. Then later on, it went cigar and scotch. Okay. Now everybody's bourbon crazy. Yeah. But what if you don't drink none of those things? What you supposed to do? Think about if you don't drink bourbon, you don't drink scotch. What if you just drink water? You ain't supposed to be enjoy your cigar?
You still should be able to.
So whatever, so that's why I say pairing, I don't buy into that. So whatever it is that you enjoy to drink, you smoke your cigar with it. I don't think, now I'm drinking scotch now, but that doesn't mean that if this was whiskey, I wouldn't enjoy the cigar. You drink what you like, you smoke what you like, and that comes back to trial and error. Because you'd be a fool just to be listening to folks like, yeah, I gotta have a good bourbon with a cigar. That sounds good. Yeah. It's almost like the Cajun guy that comes on the street. You got any Cubans? That's all they know to say. Right. And you spoke to Cuban in their life. Right. All Cuban cigars are great. Because at the end of the day, dirt is what? Dirt. Yeah. So now, true enough, it's supposed to have a little more acidity in it, but at the end of the day, dirt is dirt. That's why cigars now made in Nicaragua, Honduras, everywhere. DR. I was in Bali a couple of years ago, you know, so it just depends, you know, wherever you can get. I mean, Pennsylvania, most tobacco, believe that, but it's for cigarettes, right there in North Carolina. Right. So, you know, you just have to kind of know what you get yourself into, and you're not going to know that if you don't kind of study the culture a little bit and kind of learn from others or do your own research.
Right. So, what keeps you motivated to continue to do this? And
well, my motivation now is it gets easier later on, you know. So when I was saying entrepreneurs have to grind, you know, you got to build your business. Right. You know, you have to make it welcoming. Folks have to want to come. You got to have a selection. But now, alcohol and tobacco takes care of itself. You know, I don't need a commercial that says I'm selling cigars, I'm selling liquor, because people are going to find alcohol and tobacco.
No matter what.
Yeah. Hence you don't see, I mean, maybe you see a Mecca store or something on TV. That's why you don't see, you know, tobacco show, you know. You don't need no commercials. Because any vice, you know, it's like the weed man don't need no commercial. You know, it's now. Well, I mean, that's commercial Halloween, but I'm saying the regular guy that's slinging his quarters and 3.5s, he doesn't have, somebody's just word of mouth. Hey, my man has this. Yeah. You know, but he doesn't need to advertise.
That's still advertising though.
Well, I'm saying advertising on television.
Right. No. Yeah. I mean,
but that advertising doesn't come with a cost, a financial cost.
Right. True.
So that's kind of where I was going with that.
Yeah, no, I get it. So what are like some? Because I know you was talking about the etiquette. Like, can people learn that type of etiquette here, or like?
Yeah, you can. Well, you learn it by observation, right. And you learn it by, you know, saying, you know, I'm gonna try a cigar. Either you got to ask somebody, hey, what's the first thing you do? How do you cut this? Do you cut it this far? Or you cut it that far? Do I inhale it? You know, there's certain lessons that you learn by trial and error, but there's certain lessons you learn by going through the motions and asking and doing your own research. Right. If you didn't know how to drive a stick, you would just jump in the car and just. Right. You got to know to push the clutch. Right. You got to know that some clutches come up easy, some come, you know. Yeah. So etiquette, you know, is and this stuff. I didn't write this stuff. This stuff, whoever was, you know, the Indians didn't do it either. So whoever had a cigar lounge, you know, started saying, hey, take your band off. I don't always take my band off. They got all kind of rules out there, and some of them are probably outdated as well. But you just gotta realize, you know, where you at. You know, don't talk. So you should talk politics in cigar shops. You know, some people try to get away from the everyday rigmaroles of life.
They want their own experiences.
Yes, that's right. Or they might just want to relax. They don't want the worries of the world. You know, when they come, that might be this cremation process. Might be their 30-minute, 40-minute getaway. You know, then they got to go back home, kiss the wife, kick the dog, or whatever else they need to do.
Like, what is like the day-to-day atmosphere here, like, as far as like
smoking and drinking? Make it as simple as possible. People come in, they smoke, they drink, they talk, they depart, or they hang around all day. Yeah.
So how do you feel like with the changes with Atlanta and the different things that we have talked about, like where do you see the growth here, like how like expansion?
I have never wanted to have multiple locations. I may be even in the business one day of saying, you know what, I've done all I've done. Let somebody else come in and go to the next level. I'm content with my little slice of the pie.
Okay. What makes you just content, but like that part of it?
It's always financial. When people say they're content, is they rob Peter to pay Paul, and they're happy. There's no stress. I stay close by. That was me that blew at y'all when I came by, and that dude when I was blowing at y'all. I'll tell you, I'll be there in just a second.
Okay.
So you have to ask yourself what gives you the sense of accomplishment or contention. It's either going to be money, it's going to be rest, it's going to be stress. So for me, proximity. I don't have to. Traffic here is something. Traffic in Atlanta is something, I'm telling you. So I don't have to deal with any traffic to come to work, back and forth to work. And I got a couple of ladies that work for me. So the place is self-sufficient. It takes care of itself. And if they can't be here, then I'll be here.
Right.
And it's not a lot of work for them because people come in, they select a cigar, they cut it, they light it out of the bartender or the host. They just want to be a little small, back and forth, chit-chat, talk. And some of them don't say anything. So it's pretty self-sufficient. I don't have to worry about it. So that's it for me.
Yeah. I get it. So basically you're saying like, the business runs itself.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of Indians. There's one chief.
Right.
And if I want to delegate somebody else to be the chief for a little while, that's fine. But that doesn't come with a lot of headache and a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So it's easy.
So would you say like this business or how you have built it is your greatest accomplishment?
I haven't thought about it that way. It's definitely an accomplishment. I don't know greatest accomplishment. I am not even sure what I would even. I have daughters, so I look at them and say,
that's
So I don't really know where I would. Because this is work. It's not. Being the owner, it looks like every day you're drinking and smoking, and having a good time with everybody, but this is where I come to do WRK. And who wants to do WRK?
Right.
If you could, just take care of yourself and not do anything, I think most humans would rather do that. I don't wake up in the morning with the desire to go to work.
True.
But you should be happy if you do have to go to work and passionate about what you're doing. So that makes life a little easier.
Right. So how do you balance it all?
Oh well, because there are no stresses.
Right.
There's. You got cigar reps you're meeting with, you got liquor reps you're meeting with, but there are no stresses. I mean, as long as you can, you can afford to keep the lights on and you make a profit, you should be happy.
Yeah.
And you don't have any problems, And I've been lucky. I've had about 2 problems here the whole time I've been here. 2 problems. I had to put people out or something like that. So, nobody wants to be, the environment where you're threatened, not comfortable.
Right.
And I may have, 500 reviews online, and I would say out of those 500, maybe it's 1,000 of them, I'm not sure, but I would say 95% of them are probably positive in there, because you can't please everybody, and you're going to have some, so you say to yourself, you're doing something right,
So like, you're a native of Atlanta, like, for other people that's going to be watching this, obviously we got a lot of different people that's going to watch it that's not from Atlanta, but how would you describe Atlanta from when you grew up to versus now? Like, why is it such a tourist hub?
Well, Atlanta goes, it's hot sometimes, and then there are lows. It's peaks and valleys, as I tell people, that pendulum, sometimes it's never just all right, Sometimes the city is maybe popping for years. I mean, you had the Freaknik years.
Yeah.
BMF years. You had the Freaknik years, BMF years. The Braves hot. I don't know if the Falcons are ever really hot. So sometimes the city.
When Vic was here,
Vic was everything. Sometimes, the city already doesn't sleep, but it's a good time. There's money in the city.
Right.
Everybody's eating. When everybody's eating, nightlife thrives.
Yeah.
And Atlanta's not the king of strip clubs, but there are a lot of them here. So, when nightlife
is good, yeah.
When nightlife is good, that means everybody. When nightlife is good, everybody eats because the restaurants are going to thrive.
Yeah. Tourism.
And not just that, but when it matriculates down to what we were just talking about earlier, who didn't need advertising. When money's jumping, everybody's eating.
Yeah.
So the city's going 1,000 miles an hour. But then you got periods where it'll slow down a little bit, it go into a lull, then it pick back up. So it's never going 100 miles an hour every day. You want it to be going 100 miles an hour 10 months out of the year.
Right.
But it's back up now.
Yeah.
Pandemic had everybody down. And I think in Atlanta, people see the glam and the glitz, but a lot of it's facade too. Now you got to remember, people see it and everybody want to go to Atlanta, but it's not always what what you think it is.
Yeah.
You see the G wagons, you see the Range Rovers, but
Cyber trucks.
But you go to a house, she might be living in a cheese box.
Right.
So you have to get through the superficial BS to really kind of see, because there are people who are doing very well, there are people who are not doing. Then you got the ones in between who appear to be doing very well. So there's a lot of that going on in Atlanta, and once you get through that, you figure that don't take long, because if you guys, y'all live here, right?
I live in Detroit.
I got you.
But I'm free.
So what Atlanta would do for you, let's say y'all move here, you're gonna eat and drink 2-3 months in a row. Your money gonna do like this, because you want to see everything.
Right.
I mean, you want to see the shoe models. You want to see all the hot breakfast places. You want to see all the nightclubs. Before you know it, you find yourself eating and drinking every night. Just money gone. Right. But then after you get through that period, you pick and choose where you want to go. You might have a neighbor and don't never see him because he's going out this way and you going out this way.
Right.
But once you go through that initial hub and that initial kind of figuring out what's going on, you got it.
Right.
Then you got to balance that money, because Atlanta can drain you. Because if you like them shoe models, them shoe models can drain you.
Right. For sure. What advice would you give like a young business owner, people that want to be entrepreneurs?
Stay hungry and have a plan.
For sure.
If you don't have, I'm gonna tell you, and just realize that plan has to be. You gotta have some flexibility, because like Mike Tyson said, you can have the best plan in the world you want, but as soon as you get hit in the mouth, that changes. So be willing to have enough flexibility to realize that trials and tribulations are going to happen. Yeah. It's never going to go as it can, but it might not always go the way you want it to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes you got to take the long road around for the shortest route. If that makes sense.
For sure. Yeah. Any shout outs you want to give out?
Keep smoking, man, and if you got these, light them up and enjoy yourself.
Okay, so what's some good starter cigars?
Well, it's no such thing. It's no such thing. It's no such thing. It's people like to say gravitate to the infused cigars or cigars that are flavored, and there's a difference. That's why I brought that up, flavored versus infused. But those don't have to be starter cigars. It's where you want to be. If you smoke 4 packs of Newports every day and you're moving over cigars, then you want something with a little kick in it.
Right.
So cigars are palate driven, and you heard me say, since we've been here a few minutes, everything's trial and error. So you need to try medium, mild, bold, or strong. You need to pick your poison, and whichever one you try, you gauge from there. So if you start with bold and it hits you right where you want it to be, you're like, oh, I like this. Then you don't need a mild cigar, medium cigar. But if you start bold and it's too much, then you come down a notch. Or vice versa, you go up, you go down. You start mild and don't really have enough taste for you, you're like, I need something a little more stronger. You go to medium, then you go to bold. So it's palate driven. It's what your lung, well, it's not really your lung, it's oral, but it's how you're gonna enjoy that cigar and that smoke, and that'll determine every brand that you smoke after that, or every face of that brand. If you like a Ligero they're strong and tasty, a little bit of oil. You're not going to get the same enjoyment out of smoking a Connecticut wrapper.
Right.
You know, now not to say that you won't smoke a Connecticut, but it might not be the cigar that you want. If this is what you like, that's what you need to stick to. Now, it's not to say you should try all of them, but everybody gravitates to what they like.
Right.
So starter cigars, I don't believe in them. I think you might as well go in a cigar shop, spin around, you just pick one up and say, okay, what is this? And they tell you, this is a Davidoff. You smoke it, and then you say to yourself if you like it or not. Get you a dossier or get you a little book. Keep your own notes in the beginning. I smoked Davidoff on June 1st. It was nutty. You know, you hear these folks talking, it was leathery, it was nutty. I don't buy none of that shit. Who around here want to smoke leather?
Right.
So, find what you like. I don't give a damn if it costs you $10 or $20. Why smoke Zy if you can smoke Reggie? If you like Reggie.
Right.
Why smoke Reggie if you can smoke Louis XIV?
Right.
So find what you like.
I feel that.
You know, because if not, you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're not a cigar smoker, then don't spend a lot of money on it. You know, if you're not a cigar smoker, you just want to smoke with your friends, you know, have a limit. You know, you can say to yourself, I ain't spending more than $10 on cigars. Mm-hmm. So now that puts you in a range where you buying everything from $7 and $5 on up, because it's not your thing. You know, but if you're a serious smoker, then you'll say, well, my limit might be $50. But that don't mean I'm gonna smoke $7. Well, see, the difference is the guy that's only gonna spend $10, he ain't going to smoke $50. So find your range, find what you want, and enjoy yourself.
When you speak about aura, like from your perspective, like obviously you know what aura means, but like when you say aura, when you talk about cigars, like what are you like kind of referring to?
Well, cigars are supposed to be aromatic, right? So you're not inhaling them into the lungs. You know, cigar smokers don't die of lung cancer. So, you know, you puff, you taste, you exhale. So the flavor and everything is happening here with the cigar. Well, with the cigarette is happening here, with the weed is happening here. Cigars, it stops right here, or right somewhere right under here. You know. You puff. That's why they call it puffing. Versus, this you will puke. Well, see, this thing. That's why I said about etiquette. Cigars would teach their own lesson. Right. So a person smokes a cigar like a cigarette, man, ain't gonna do that. It's just too much smoke. The smoke's too hard. It's too rough. It's too rough of a experience. They're not gonna be able to do that.
Yeah. What's your personal favorite cigars?
Across the spectrum, I like a little bit of everything. I don't know if I have a favorite. I have some go-tos. You know, I mean, I like some Ligas. But like I said, for me, it goes back to I'm time driven. You know, if I got 20 minutes and I got a little small cigar, it can be by Luciano or whoever it is, I'm content with that. If I got a few minutes, I'm just smoking. I'm out the door. If I am at a party and I'm gonna be there for 2 hours and I got a 66, that's fine with me. Yeah. But I like a little taste. I like a little boldness. I like a little spice. I don't mind if it burns fast, but I would prefer something that burns kind of slow. Cuts that I like, you know, I like someone called Salomon. But Toro is my ideal size. It's kind of, Robusto's the small one of the smallest ones. Toro is kind of in between. Then you got Churchill's and so forth. Toro's to me is like a good size. But depending on what I'm doing, if I want something with a lot of flavor, then I'll get a Lancero. You know, because it's gonna be thin, it's gonna be long, but it's gonna be very rich in flavor.
Gotcha. For sure. And you open my perspective a lot on cigars. Like I've smoked cigars before, but
I'm glad I can be of assistance.
You know, it's usually like just kind of like
when you're just going through the motions.
Kind of going through the motions just a tad bit, but actually when I since I've gotten older, I've kind of appreciated it a little bit more. But I'm just more like a casual, like.
Yeah. Well, what you do is just like I said, keep going through them. Just keep going through them. Then when you identify something that you like, then start trying ones that are simple. So if you go to a shop, so you know what I like, this Liga number 9, I want something that smokes like this. Then let that person find. You say, oh, I ain't got nothing gonna be like that. Or you say, I got this. Then you try that. Then you'll know where you want to be. That sliding scale. And so for coffee, if I drink coffee in the morning and I want to smoke that early, I smoke something very light. But if I go have a steak dinner, I want something very bold.
Right.
You know, and that just comes with knowing what you want and over and over.
Yeah.
You know.
For sure. Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your hospitality.
Thank you for having me.
The opportunity.
Yes.
I look forward to building with you and talking to you next time I come to
Yes.
Atlanta.
Yeah, we do this anytime.
Shout out to Cigar Village. This is episode 40. It's the Visionary Mind. I see it, I think it, I make it happen. We out.
Dope.